Somebody punch somebody in the face. Let's go.
All right. I hit recording.
There we go.
He's screaming at the TV. But this is you want to bring us in, Paul, for me, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the new installment, the latest and greatest installment of the Never Fall Off podcast. I am Polito Vega.
This is Sis over here. You got your sexy voice on.
Hey, I got my tune in. I hope we win tonight, boys.
You like amped up? I got you like a good night.
You got me on a good night.
Good night.
I've been staring at the sun and the sidewalks for like 8 hours straight.
But
Glad to be out
we're
the
here,
house.
another installment here with a very special guest. Very, very good friend of mine who has a laundry list of things that she wants to get off. But today we're going to focus on, once again, what we usually focus on here at the Never Fall Off podcast is just interesting people, interesting stories, and interesting trajectories that they're going forward and just doing wild shit that like normal people aren't doing, like what you're about to do. But we'll get into that because I want to know. The topic of discussion is the RV. We want to get there for sure. We want to know 100%, but we're not going to jump straight there. But just know that is where, like,
all roads lead.
I
think we're in for a hell of a conversation.
Yeah,
Sarah.
yeah. 100%.
Thank you for joining us, Sarah.
Yes, thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. We were talking about it earlier. We met 2009, 2010. I think something like that. I think the years were blurred back then. We were doing a lot of Friday, Saturday joint benders at different houses. We did used to, I don't know if you remember, we did used to meet up at your house to watch Vampire Diaries.
Oh yes, we absolutely did. Yes.
See?
Love Vampire Diaries.
Love Vampire Diaries.
We do.
See, he's always talking shit about Vampire Diaries.
Oh, are you
I try to tell him.
I'm not like a CW. That's what it was on, right?
Yeah. He still treats it like it's a CW thing. I don't think he understands.
It's deeper than that.
Like,
but are you Stefan or Damon? I never asked you that. I already know the answer, I think.
I'm a Damon guy. Season 1 to 3, and then Stefan. And
where do you think I stand with the brother?
Definitely a Damon.
No.
A Stefan?
I'm
really?
a Stefan.
A tortured soul. That's what it is. A tortured soul. That makes sense. That lines up, actually. You can't fix him, though.
No, you can't, unfortunately.
you can't fix him. Did I tell you we went to the
I saw the
place
pictures.
where
It looked
they,
amazing.
Where they filmed it?
Yes, yes.
God,
I've always wanted to do that. It looked awesome.
We used to do that all the time. We used to meet at your house, and we used to watch the episode, and then you guys would run away like mid-episode, and then everyone would just start drinking and like playing music, and then I'd just be downstairs like, well, I'm gonna finish
this show.
But that was back. You had to watch like commercials and shit. Like you had to like real time.
Was it a hour-long program?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
So what?
Commercials like 43 minutes, I guess, whatever. But everyone else is like partying and shit. I'm like, yeah, we gotta finish.
And we definitely met through Donna, because I feel like I
100%.
met you
100% through
at in her aunt's backyard.
Yeah,
is like my recollection, which could definitely not be correct.
it's probably not true at all.
Yeah.
There's probably like multiple different like parties that we went to that we met.
Probably family parties.
Most likely, yeah. So Donna is my friend Bam. You know Bam, his cousin. And then I met Sarah through Donna.
Yes.
Which they consider themselves family. So technically just all one giant big family.
You know what the best thing about Donna is? So Jen Tenaro is Donna's cousin, first cousin. Jen was one of my best friends. I know Jen. Still is, growing up. And still to this day. She's one of my longest friendships. And I met Donna, Jen's cousin. And I'll never forget, we're in the 7th grade. And she tells Jen, I don't like your friend Sarah. She's like, I just writes her a note, like, don't like her.
7th grade?
That's it? That's straight
funny.
up?
Didn't like me. And literally, I was like, I love a mission. Like, I'm going to get this girl to love me. Oh, it was great.
I'm going to get this girl to love me?
That
was what you were
yeah.
going?
Like, I was, like, not even offended. I was like, oh, she doesn't even know me. Like, she doesn't even know me. And Donna is absolutely, like...
That's a great attitude to have as
like
a 13-year-old.
Yeah, like, I was great. Because here's the thing. You didn't give me a shot. You wrote me off. You don't even know me. You know what I mean? Like, if I was annoying...
You still carry that with you?
Yeah.
That's how you still approach
ebbs and flows for sure. For sure. Ebbs and flows. That's wonderful.
I don't even know what that means. What's ebbs and flows?
Like it goes up and down, like depending on the circumstance, things like that.
Come on, Arthur, you're good with words, man. What are you doing?
That was crazy. That one I was like, I don't even know. I assumed that's what it meant, like context, but I wanted to make sure. Like, what if I jumped in and like they're like, that's
I would never let you fall on your face. I would always like maneuver it so you were
like,
good.
yo, that's not what that means at all.
No, but Donna became one of like I'm the godmother to her newest baby Evie, and she's one of my best friends now to this day.
Yeah,
so
man, we're all big.
so
We're all one big happy family, even though we barely see each other.
I know, but it's one
that's
of those
just adulthood.
Yeah, but like no time's passed. Like I haven't seen you since 2022. It's 2025.
That's fucking.
That's crazy.
That's how long ago. That's
Your
wedding was in 2022.
So through the rager. Wow. Yeah.
Well, I think social media keeps a lot of people still connected without having to see each other.
Yeah.
Like you're still involved, like you still know what's going on. As much as like social media is like a front, like it's just a face to what's going on.
Can we talk about how many people you had at your wedding?
Oh, yeah.
You remember my wedding, right? You thought mine was big?
Yeah, I thought your wedding was pretty big.
This is hilarious. I had 160 people at my wedding.
A lot of people.
This is hilarious. Ask her how many people were at her wedding.
I'm scared now.
Ask how many people were at the wedding. Go ahead, tell them.
Like double that?
Go ahead, tell them.
298.
God.
My bridal party was 44.
What?
Oh, it was like
The Irish don't believe in birth control. I don't know what to tell you.
Yo, they started walking down the aisle and they just kept
Never
coming.
ended.
I'm like, all right.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
a nightmare.
No,
dude.
and well, here's my thing. There was two extremes. It was I'm getting married in the mountains of Asheville. Like me, my partner at the time, maybe like a preacher, maybe our parents, and that's it. And then we'll do like I wanted to do because it was 2021 we're planning it. I have a beautiful backyard at home in New Jersey, like my parents' home or my mom's home. I was like, I'll just like have a crazy reception there. Like
throw one of those dope ass
it's gonna be great. We were gonna put like
You would have saved so much
plexiglass over the pool, making the dance floor. Like I had a whole vision.
That would have been insane, by the way.
I love my father to pieces, and he didn't like I had an aesthetic too, like whatever. But it was hilarious because he is just corporate businessman. You have to extend, and he's just a family man. Like he wants everyone there. So I cut a.
So your dad has a lot of relationships. So it's
so
like,
we
can't invite. We have to invite this guy. I
cut 150 people off. I was sending invites to a couple of like who. I have no idea who that is. And the best is, I'll never forget. I think it was Donna or it was, I thought, the best set list. And Quill goes, I've never heard. What did you say about the music? Because it was like Bruce Springsteen, CV Nick.
Yo,
like,
it was like.
He goes.
It was a wedding.
Bro, it was like you be up, right? And like Bruce would be playing.
He's like, who's Bruce?
Who the fuck is Bruce? And everyone's like, well, don't be stupid. I'm like, all right, I was playing.
Like I flew to London for Bruce at 16. Like that's where I stand for Bruce.
She big Bruce.
And Coel's
Big
like,
Bruce.
who's Bruce?
Yeah, it was like, everyone was like, it was like, man, it was crazy. But then it would switch to like T-Pain. Yeah. And then it would like jump back to like
It was a
In
wedding.
Sync. Like, then it would jump to like something I never heard of before. Something with a lot of guitars in it.
You learn.
And I was like, I don't know what this is. Then it was like some Irish music thrown in there, like some folk dancing. Like it was crazy. But
that DJ had a hell of a night.
But the fact that there was like so many people there, it was like you were actually at a nightclub. Like, you see a girl at a nightclub and you really don't know if you'll see her again for the rest of the night. That's what it was. Like,
where was it at?
So actually, it's pretty hilarious. Now full circle, right? So it was at the Art Factory in.
It's in Patterson.
Patterson. So like
I went to 2 weddings there.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's cool. It's artsy, but it's like super rustic.
It's nice.
Honestly, the amount of people we had on that rickety ass balcony though.
Y'all were bugging.
Probably a huge like
fire truck?
yeah, like
Yeah, 'cause you got to walk through this tunnel to get from your cocktail hour to your like main reception.
yeah.
But it's literally like a hallway balcony bridge. Like it
Yeah.
bridges the 2 buildings together.
Yeah, it's a little sus.
And like one heel through the floor, like through the holes.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing too. Wasn't it you
Yeah.
that had the things laid out?
I was a barefoot bride. I was
Because
barefoot.
like you're hippie or just
Well,
like your shoes are killing you?
I would love to sit here and be like, oh,
Because like your third eye was open
like,
that day?
oh my god, it's because like it's because honestly I can't stand shoes. But the truth is, I had rugs. Like it was very hippy dippy, like boho chic, and like I had rugs, but they weren't taped down. So all my sister's so pregnant, like a month out, and she is grabbing the groomsmen so hard because she's like, if I faced so many people slipped. So I was like, oh no, I do not do heels. I'm not a heel girly. Nope. So I just boom kicked him off, and you see me walking down the aisle. Yeah. Just the dogs are out,
so
and I had the
crazy,
best
man.
time of my life.
That's what you expect.
Like,
I did have a lot of fun. I had
it
a
was
lot
a
of
great
fun that
time.
night. It was a
all
really,
things
really
considered,
good
it was
time.
an awesome time. It was beautiful. However, like hindsight 2020 looking back, like I don't know if I would have done that type of wedding. I'm super grateful for it, like so grateful for it. Like it really was so beautiful. I had a blast, but it's like it's.
Do you go back and watch
like
the wedding film and all that?
Well, I have not anymore. Yeah. It's like I don't really.
Yeah,
I don't really.
Sore spot.
Anymore.
Yeah, I get.
No, it's not even a sore spot. It's just I don't live there anymore. But it's like it's absolutely like I have no. It's all good. I just I don't need to. Sitting on my couch.
If it makes you feel better, I haven't watched mine in a while either.
No, but I did, and it was great. Like,
no, you once you get it, you bleed it.
My
like
God.
it's on like repeat in your house.
It's fun.
And then like you don't even remember.
Yeah, like you don't.
You're like, wow, they actually had a good time.
Yeah,
you're sending like little videos to other people, like, yo, look at you. But
it felt like a fever dream, and like I was sober my whole wedding. Like I didn't drink at all for my wedding.
That's how they all feel, man.
And it just felt like I felt so high. I was like, I don't know how people do drink on that day because like I felt intoxicated. Like
that's
it was
awesome.
such like a rush. Like
you drink and like
I bet the adrenaline.
You drink and you. The problem is, and what most people run into is that you're drinking, but you don't realize like how much you're drinking because like you're just overstimulated everywhere.
Sure.
There's people that you had never seen before,
and you're in bliss.
Aunts and uncles, and you're in bliss, and you're super happy, and then you get back to your hotel that night, and you're like, yo, I feel horrible, and then you stuff your face with Cheez-Its.
That adrenaline.
And you don't eat.
And
like,
you haven't
Don't eat.
Exactly. You don't get to eat.
Oh, I guess if you didn't do it that way, then you would know that day, like, probably made the wrong decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, man, I don't remember, like, I remember the night, but.
It is blurry, right?
So much just, it's
fast.
It's like, I do. Over.
Yeah. No, it's quick. It's quick.
And you have your moments of like your real special moments that you remember in your reception, whether it's cutting the cake or speeches or whatever was precious to you.
Do you remember your first dance song and stuff?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Because you like took the time and
we took the time and like picked it together and stuff like that. So I remember, and I still listen to it. It's not like a super old song where like you never play it somewhere. Like it'll pop up.
It'll pop up and hear it.
Yeah.
What was it?
Alicia Keys, If I Ain't Got You, is my wedding song.
I have such a girl crush on Alicia. I mean, you would be a fool not to.
That's true. That is.
You would literally be a fool not to.
That's one of those like,
Yeah, Alicia.
All right, let's backpedal here.
Okay.
From your wedding, it was a fantastic time though. You mentioned Asheville, right?
Yep. That's where I was living.
So you're from here.
Yep.
Obviously.
From Sayerville. Yep.
From Sayerville, close, right down the road.
Yeah.
Sayerville developed a little bit of a reputation, home of Abyss.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? You know what's going on.
And Chrome.
Yeah. You spent some time in there, you know what I mean? Glow in the dark floor. You know what I mean?
The foam days.
The foam days.
Yeah. How we don't have hepatitis C is crazy.
Oh my God. The only way I was able to sneak out was sleeping over Donna's house. And then we would lie so hard. And my mom, as I got older, she's like, I knew you were lying. She was like,
that's
you
awesome.
Explain too much.
That's awesome.
Like, I'd be like, Mom, I'm going to be here and then here.
I love that you just said that. You know how much that warms my heart right now? Because I used to think
you was getting your shit off.
Getting your shit off, you know? Like,
no, I was
and I would tell girls like, yo, just tell her that you're gonna sleep over there and then we gonna die. I got you, we pick you up. And it would work.
You thought you were the man. Of course it worked, baby. Come on.
It's like knowing the fact that parents are just like, I know what they're trying to do. Yeah. Let's just let them have their fun. And their parents are okay with that. Like that's awesome.
She wasn't even okay with it. It's just there was a lot going on at that time and age. She was like at this point by herself raising 3 girls and we were fun. And she put a tracker on my phone though without me knowing. So for her, it was like
back in those days.
I didn't even have a phone back then.
Yeah, your phone was this big.
I didn't even have a phone.
Yeah,
we were just going
like the Razor Flip or like whatever it was.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she wasn't. My mom was not dumb. She was not a dumb woman. She's not a dumb woman.
So, and you do your thing in Sayerville. What sent you down? I never asked you why you even moved down to Asheville.
Okay.
Well, however much you're willing to indulge about Asheville. I don't know what you was doing. What were you like?
Yeah, life was.
I thought you were just gonna stay down there. I thought you were never gonna come back.
Honestly.
How far is that from here?
It's in North Carolina?
Western North Carolina. It's actually where Hurricane Helene hit. It was like right in the center of it. Yeah, from this year. So it's Western North Carolina. Driving from here, it's about, I would say 9.5, 10 hours. So I really fell in love with Asheville. I was, I'm 32 now. I was 24. Got out of a 5-year relationship. It was a hard breakup. And I couldn't stay in Sayerville. I was like, I gotta get out. So I go down to Asheville. Was there
family there or something?
No, it was just I knew people down there, and it was just a beautiful space, and connected with a lot of women. And to be like completely transparent, I was struggling with a lot of mental health at that point, and so there was a treatment center for trauma, so I'd gone there. And then through that experience, moved in with, a group of girls, around my age or a little older, and fell in love with it. I mean, that period of my time, of my life, in that time was it was just amazing. It was incredible.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's awesome those resources exist, right?
Yeah, I didn't even know this. I didn't know you lived with, a group of girls after.
Yeah. And they're all there for all different, all different things. Mine was trauma related and whatever.
But you're sharing experiences with them.
And it was so healing. It was so healing. And then I really fell in love with it. Was there for about 9 months. And then I was like, you know what? I have about 2-3 semesters left of college. I'm ready to go. I got it. And I was doing it there online. I originally went to college at Pace University in Manhattan. And then it became too expensive. But with the credentials from Pace to New Jersey, half my credits did not transfer.
What?
So I had to essentially start over. So I went to Middlesex for 2 years. Then it was
that's really a thing?
Oh yeah.
Is that I assume you looked into it a little further on what you can do? Is that a thing?
So it's a thing. As far as looked into, I absolutely did not listen to my parents who told me we probably only have this amount of money to get you to go there.
Right.
I was impulsive. I was 19. I knew everything, and Donna was there. So I was going. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Yeah. And so, anyways, I moved.
Was there.
Yeah, I moved home 2018, and I graduate in May, and that was with a psychology degree. And then at that point, I got into a relationship with the person that I got married to, and I said I'm going for my master's, and I'm gonna be going down to Asheville, North Carolina. I want to be a therapist. So it's your decision. I'm not changing my course. I put my life on hold for a really long time. This is what I'm doing. You can come or you don't have to, and we'll figure it out or we won't. And then we moved down August in 2019.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
A lot of people will find reasons to stay and not make those big jumps.
Yeah.
What was it about your mind that said no, this is what I want to do?
I feel I've always been that kid. There's always been a longing. I was always a super curious kid. I was a kid you would get really annoyed with. I was the why kid. I wanted to know. You really get annoyed. Dad, no, this is my favorite memory. Dad, how'd you grow the beard? Did you pray to God for your beard? He's something like that. Not kidding. Swear to God. I took his Bic razor and I shaved my face dry and it's bleeding. I'm I'm just trying to be, I just want a beard. And thank God or whatever didn't listen to me and give me a full grown beard because I wanted a beard. I was the why I needed things to make sense. And the girl that had plaster, all over the walls in her teenage room of places you want to be, that type of thing, longing, always felt complacent, Sayerville, it's home. To put into perspective, my dad's one of 6 and half of his siblings live in the same neighborhood. So I grew up very family oriented, and it's beautiful and amazing. My cousins are my siblings, but I needed to get out, and I always wanted to explore the world. And so I was I'm going to do it. And it's terrifying for sure. You're upbringing your whole life. And it was, my parents moved me in, my cousin, my sister, and it was hard the first week, and then it became one of my favorite spaces in the world. Yeah, I think it's so important to get out of the town you move in. Whether you come back or not, it is so essential for your growth and your well-being. Sure. Really.
I didn't really have a choice. So I guess my journey would be a little different. But I did spend 4 years in Roselle Park, and the first thing I did was leave.
Yeah. No.
Like literally. Like.
No. Yeah.
I said, yo, we gotta get the fuck out of here. I can't do this anymore. That's so interesting though. And it must be cool to just have family that can like kind of bridge you.
Yeah.
From like, especially if you're impulsive and you don't really listen to anybody.
Oh man.
Like,
listen, I will say I'm 32 now. We have grown, we have changed, but yeah, like Sarah knew everything. Like I really didn't. It was.
Oh no, none of us did.
No.
None of us knew anything.
Yeah, I guess what I should say is, it was like a facade, right? Like that was a protective barrier of like, you're not going to tell me what to do, even though I already knew they were right. It was so hard for me to be like,
therapy shit.
You're right.
I said therapy shit.
Yeah.
She tried to throw a therapist on us real time.
Yeah. I mean, therapists become therapists for a reason. You know what I mean? Like they do.
See what's happening here?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Got your
I don't want to cut her off. I was like, keep going. Dude, but
got your little brain moving. That's interesting. And then what? I know we talked about it before, but what made you decide to come back?
So I was getting married, and quite honestly, at that point too, I was a grad student, and I was being paid, but like, you know, it's not.
It's not like livable pay.
And unfortunately, just like rent just became too expensive. And then the truth is, it's like my sister was pregnant, and I wanted to be there for that. My sister's had, you know, quite the journey, and so I wanted to be there. And then I think at that point, we were kind of ready. And then it was also, it's really difficult to plan something when you're so far. Like it was. And we kind of knew like we would go back to, I never think we thought we were going there and would stay.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good way of approaching.
I guess you were just trying to.
I was there for.
You're trying to make your goal, and then you were gonna look at whatever you got going on after that.
Yeah, and then like go from there. I mean.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. So,
but like you fell in love with this. I'm thinking like, was there a possibility to stay?
Yes, and I will be honest. It was actually me towards the end who was really. I think I was really lonely, and I think I was. I don't know, I was just going through things.
No family, I guess.
But I did have family. Like I had my cousins like right over the border, which is like an hour and a half away, in South Carolina and Fort Mill. So it's like and I made some friends, but it's like, I don't know, like I think I just wanted to kind of be back. And then we moved back. I think it was June 2022, right before Father's Day. And then the wedding was in October of 2022. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, so I guess that kind of adds up. And then we go through the wedding. That was the last time I saw you.
Yeah.
I had a fantastic time, by the way. Such a great time. I got a great photo from that wedding, too.
You did. I was like, yeah, look at Coel, using it. Like, okay, so I go on Instagram. It's like just Coel, like these very nice aesthetics. I'm like, that's my wedding.
Carolyn took all of those, too.
They looked great.
Perfect.
Yeah, they were awesome.
And we hung out with, Dom was with us all night.
Good. I know Donna was really pregnant. She's like my sister.
Yeah, she was like super duper pregnant. She was super duper pregnant. She was chilling for a lot, but Dominique was with us most of the time.
You felt comfortable? I know. I was like wanting people like you.
Nah, I had a great time. Honestly, man. We left and we were like, yo, because we were on a run of like bad weddings at that point. Yeah. Like it was getting
that's crazy,
bro.
Like add Sarah's to the.
But mix. you know how we are like with I don't know what happened, but I'll fix that.
Make sure it's just recording.
Yeah, we you know how we are with like weddings. Like you know how me and Carolyn are with like weddings. Like we're going to fucking weddings every other fucking week, and it's like
especially pre-baby. You guys are like
exactly
every 3 months.
We were just like literally, it was a spree of just like bad ones. Like they just weren't good.
Oof.
I don't know how else to. I really don't know how else to say.
Can I ask like what was bad about it? Just like the.
It was like. They were prioritizing like some people prioritize like the way it looks over the way like it functions. Some people prioritize like their, I guess,
food preference,
their preference and taste over like you got 200 people here. Like some people pay more homage to their parents in their wedding because maybe they pay for it or whatever the case may be. But sometimes they spend too much time paying homage to their parents, where we end up listening to like Frank Sinatra all night. And it's like,
and some weddings are like too traditional. Like,
and some it's too much. And then some you got to go to the church. You standing, you're sitting, you
yeah. That's what I mean. Like
Then you got to drive to the thing.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Like, and then some people at the end of the night, like they stuff ain't right. Like you staying at the hotel, but the shuttle don't show up, and you end up like abandoned on the staircase. That's real. I feel that still.
Wait, what do you?
I feel that shit still. I went to a wedding and we were supposed to get shuttled, and like literally, like the shuttle didn't show up. Like me and Carolyn and like maybe like 6 or 7 other guests. We're just standing on a porch. Like, she's wrapped in my jacket. We're just standing there. And you know she's giving me the shit. This is fucking stupid. Oh, my God. How could they even have... Like, so all that stuff. Like, but we were on a streak. Yeah. Like, we was like, yeah, we need a good one or we ain't going there no more.
It's an age range, too. I mean, I swear. Too, yeah. Like, I drove... When I was planning my wedding, I drove back and forth from North Carolina. And I probably should have said no to some of the weddings. But I was 10 weddings. 10. I was in like 3 or 4.
How do you guys know that many responsible adults that are still getting married? That is crazy to me.
Yeah, I've been to.
I can count on one hand how many like.
Oh man,
really?
It never stopped.
No man, I've done.
Maybe I've said no to like too many in a row that people are like, we're gonna stop inviting Paul, but like I was never that wedding thing just hadn't happened.
Like, I think I'm at like 10.
And you were in a lot.
Yeah, I was in like 6.
That's what I was
same thing with you.
Like 6
I mean, because you said your bridal party was huge, so a lot of times you got to return those favors, like. You're in my wedding, so I'm in your wedding kind of deal. So.
And here's the thing, too. It's like, so I'm the middle child. I have an older sister, younger sister. But it's like my cousins are my siblings. Mm-hmm. So even making my dad's one of 6. My mom's one of 4. Like, and then even I'm so intentional with my relationships. Even my second cousins, third cousins, I'm so close with because it's so important to me to make those connections. And so it's like, if it was up to me, everyone, it would have been nonstop. And then it doesn't help that like the person I was with, like they had a really large family too, and like we wanted nieces, nephews, all the things, right? So it was like, and that was important to me. But yeah, it was like literally like my wedding planner was like, I have never had a wedding with this many people. This many people. And I was such a pain as a bride in the sense of I was
super bridezilla.
No, too lax. Too lax.
You didn't make the decisions like
to my girls when they're like, well, I'm like, here's the color. I just want it long. Whatever makes you feel beautiful, go. People would be like, I'm like, I don't care.
Sarah, we need some direct.
Because I got to be honest, and this is the truth. No one's outshining the bride. So I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, and also too, everyone has different body shapes. What makes you feel comfortable and beautiful. Like I wanted everyone to feel beautiful. So here's your color. Go for it. Nope. I have a lot of my type A friends. For someone who's so like I have a lot of type A friends.
They're like, no, I need to know.
Go well.
Do you like this
and
dress?
I'm like, it's beautiful. It's great. Wow. Like, no, you don't. Yeah. So I was definitely a pain because I was like, it's not that I didn't care. Of course I cared, but I just
it's not the biggest.
Not a big thing. No, a lot of it didn't.
But there are some people that are like, no, everybody's got to wear this. I need this to be like that because I don't want the look of it to be.
That's my issue. I think what I was really getting at with planning a large wedding is the whole idea of a look.
It's like a movie.
I think
like the amount of people there is like.
I think
it's like a comedy.
Yeah, no, and I think what felt incongruent, and again, it was beautiful, and I do. It is. It's like, you know, my big fat Greek wedding. It was insane, but it's like I do feel like I never wanted it, and I don't think it was. I think my fear was I don't want this to be like a show.
Yeah.
Like this is like not a show. And I think we get lost in like this has to be. My cocktail hour wasn't decorated. There were no seats when there were supposed to be seats. Like there were so many things. I don't remember desserts being out. They were put in a different room. Like so many things people would lose like their mind over. And you know, you pay money like as you should. But it's like I was just like, I'm barefoot.
But nothing ever goes right.
Nothing ever goes right.
Everything doesn't go right.
For as much as these like places are designed to be like. That's their job.
Yeah.
It's still nothing ever goes right.
No.
After you finish school.
So
how did you dive into your therapist path after, you know, getting married and then sorting everything out?
So it was first actually. So I was already a therapist.
You was already a therapist.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
how often were you working though, since you were trying to like move back?
I was still full time. I was just virtual. Yeah, I was able to land a group practice, which I did my internship at down in North Carolina. Because remember, I was still based, like my licensure was still is in North Carolina.
Okay.
Now I have New Jersey too. So when I moved, it was the pandemic, right? So everyone's doing virtual. Yeah. So I had the luxury of, so as long as my clients are in the state, as long as they're in North Carolina, I can be wherever I want to be.
Okay.
So that's like a huge privilege and was like great. So you start off with like an associate's, right? And then you need a certain amount of hours, supervision, yada, yada, yada. And then I'm fully licensed now. And that is now going to be translated into New Jersey.
Is there a specific type of
therapy
that you do?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
and when did you decide that's what you wanted to do?
So I think from a very young age, like I said, the why. I'm super curious around, like, I find it fascinating that I just met you today and you have a whole life experience of like heartache and love and joy and pain. And I think it fascinates me since I was a kid. Like, I love that. Like, I'm not the type of person who does well. I can talk to a tree, who does well with surface level conversation. Like, it bores me. Like, I want to know. So either like you're really into it, or you're like,
you like to tap in.
No, yeah,
get that girl away from me.
She likes to make like connections with people.
Yeah, I do, because that's what it's all about.
That's what real conversation is.
But I think that's what life is all about. Okay. Connecting. Like, that's how I feel. That's my idea.
That's so funny. Like, I just met you. You got some pain behind those eyes.
You know, and
unpack.
I see a lot of pain in those eyes, boy.
I read a room pretty well too. I gotta be honest. I read things pretty well. And so I think I would say I pull a lot from Psychodynamic, and that's really just kind of looking at patterns, behaviors, like relationships with parents, things like that. But then I'm also super person-centered, and that meaning like holding complete positive regard for you. Like, you can come in and tell me like what you have so much shame around, and I truly mean it when I say I'm not sitting here judging you. Like, I think what is so important through my experience with healing, because I had a really bad relationship with myself, but I'm really good at pretending like I'm happy and is like when I was able to actually be real and fall apart, it's like it's bearing witness to someone's pain. It's bearing witness to their joys, their successes, their fears. It's bearing witness to things that, you know, they would never tell, you know, their closest person in their life. And I was so focused when I was, you know, I'm only 4.5 years in. I have so much to learn, but I've learned so much too. And my clients, I attribute so much growth to. They've taught me so much. Because you say the things that you also need to hear. You know? Because
you like can relate a little bit?
There's some where I'm like, oh, universe, you were universing too hard. Like, you sent me a fucking doppelganger of myself, and I'm not okay with it.
Yeah, because you know you're not going to listen.
But you end up listening.
You know yourself. I mean, eventually you'll end up listening.
Because you have to say it to them, and you mean it for them. And then, well, if you mean it for them, you have to mean it for yourself. Because if it's true for me, it's true for you.
With a traditional job, you find experience on the job, right?
Right.
There's always like theory of what you're learning and like actual practice of what you're learning. How much of like when you were studying, you were like, oh, this makes sense. I know what therapy is. And then you, like, when you started actually doing it, you were like, whoa, this ain't textbook.
No, you are thrown into the fire of yes and. I don't do yes but. It's yes and. Because if you say like yes but, that negates everything before the and. So what I mean by that is like, okay, I was really, like, you know, going through it 2023. So at that point, associate counselor, you see a supervisor who just, you know, they go, whatever, supervisor. You talk to them about things, right, in order to help you as a therapist with your clients. And one of my things is like, okay, I'm struggling. So when do I know that, like, if I'm being helpful or harmful to a client? Like, that was very important to me, right? Like, how do I know if I need to take space or, like, take time off? Like, I want to make sure I can show up when I'm, like, barely functioning in my own life.
Wow.
And that's, like...
that's big. I think that's like next level, honestly. People can't do that just in general. Now to have to,
I feel like, because like you're taking on a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like every day.
You're like, that energy is being, like, poured into you. I mean, from a vulnerable place, from a person that is expecting you to, like, kind of help them out.
Yeah.
But, like, I remember when I went to go see my therapist, I didn't even think about how he was feeling. Yeah. Like, I went in there and fucking, like...
It's not your job. It's not your job.
And exactly. But if you're any kind of empathetic person, I didn't think about that, though, until, like, it was hindsight. Right. And I was like, damn, I was, like, really laying that shit on. I said good morning. Like, that's all I said. Like, I asked you how you doing today. Like, I asked nothing like that. I was just like, bro, I got to get to it. Like, that's, like, really interesting. And, like, I guess it's reinforces your calling, I guess.
It does. And, like, it's challenged me. When I tell you I have this one client, still have her, one of the things she said to me when I first started with her, and I was an intern, so I was still in Asheville, still working for this. I have my own company, my own private practice.
Hey, clap it up for that.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Hit the button, man.
The button. I love that. I love it.
Yeah.
That you're able to take, apply, grow.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
And she was put into my life, and her first thing she says to me, like, you do a consultation call, and she goes, I never really stayed with a therapist. Remember I said earlier, and I was like, I'm gonna grow on you like mold. Like this is gonna, and I have learned so much from this client. Her growth from 4.5 years ago has been so profound, and she just had this beautiful sentiment that she said, attributing so much to me the other day. And I looked at her and I said, "That's you. That's you. All I'm doing is sitting here again, bearing witness, holding space, a safe container. You're doing it. You're doing the work."
That's awesome that you gave him that feedback
the truth.
too.
It's the truth. I think people think with therapy, you're giving advice, you're doing
I think a lot of time you want validation for your own opinions, and when you don't hear that, that's when people switch.
Yeah.
I went through that with my therapist. I was looking for somebody to say,
Yeah.
Paul, you're right. You're making a ton
bro.
of sense
Me
here.
too. I was looking for the same thing.
And then when they're like, but da-da-da, and you're like, man, fuck this guy.
Right.
Yeah, and listen, I got to be honest.
True.
Through this process, I have my own therapist, and she's my spirituality teacher / therapist, and I've been working with her, or I've at least known her since 2018. And you know how many times I'm like, "Fuck you, Kathy," and slam the laptop? No, I'm not kidding.
Wait, slamming the laptop is crazy.
No, I didn't. I haven't. But I will pretend to slam the laptop because I'm I'm fed up with you.
Slamming the laptop is nuts.
You guys say the right thing sometimes.
And she knows.
That
here's
is
the
so
thing: you have to
funny.
gauge your client. You're gonna make so many mistakes, you just are. You're gonna make so many mistakes, and you have to give yourself so much grace. Because in the beginning, my thought process was fix. I'm not doing enough. It's and that's what it all comes down to: bearing witness, holding space, and of course you give the tools that you can give, but it's not your job to fix. It's your job to be there.
Wow.
In a place where people feel like there's no one. And you know what? Some of my males have been some of my most incredible learning experiences, a female, of how much society is the only emotion I'm allowed to feel is anger. And through my work with men who I think age range, I have a 19-year-old, maybe 35. I've worked with older in the past.
19, good for him.
Yeah, he's incredible. I've been with him for a couple years. He really.
I wonder what it'd be like to have a female therapist. I never did.
Yeah.
It was always a guy.
I was always afraid.
Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, Paul, tell me more.
I mean, that's a girl. You're good. You're
Tell
good.
me more. Unpack that for me, man.
Wait, can I take my shoes off and get comfortable?
100%.
Okay.
Your feet aren't even on camera.
Okay.
Yeah, right?
They're cute. I painted them blue.
You're afraid to get vulnerable with a female just because of guys. I guess you hold a lot of that back, even in relationships and stuff like that. You never want to appear vulnerable or weak to the opposite sex. So it's when you choose to get a therapist and you're telling yourself you're going to open up these doors to this person, sometimes it'll probably, for me, it felt like it takes too long to get there. And a lot of times when you're at the point where you're I want therapy, you don't want no barriers in the way. So and that was, I think, my mistake in the beginning. Again, I wanted a guy to validate what I was feeling. And when I probably could have went with a female and she would have been
gave you the real.
Da-da-da-da, and maybe I would have listened better.
Yeah.
But that's a guy thing. That's just a guy thing.
Well, I think that both can be said too. I often wonder. I think my experience with male therapists, as far as just people that I know, not that I've actually had a male therapist. I'm afraid of men, so I'm not going to go to a male therapist. They can understand my experience as a woman.
Okay.
You understand my experience as a woman.
Yeah.
You can't, right? But it's how can I understand your experience as a male? I can't. The pressure on both ends, right? And I think politically, and we won't get into it, but there's a lot of things right now that are happening, and I think that it's so important that these narratives are reversed around the idea of vulnerability and what strength really means, because we are all humans having, we're spiritual beings having human experiences, and the fundamental root in that is you're gonna have feelings. Who am I to tell you you buck up, pull yourself up by your bootstraps? What? But again, I was a person that cried since, over Land Before Time, Sarah McLachlan singing like for the freaking dog commercials. I'm crying over everything. I cry. So people told me my whole life I'm too much because it's like I have so much empathy, but I think our world today
needs it
and lacks it. Like what I told you,
lacks
I get so excited about. Like Coel has a whole experience that like It's so I call it people's story. Yeah. It's so exciting. Like you do too. It's so exciting. But people look at it like we're just a bunch of ants and there's no empathy anymore. And I'm never going to be that person. And so people want to call me too much. And for many, I am. I absolutely am.
Yeah, because I could picture just meeting you in like a traditional like barbecue setting. And you're like, yo, Sarah's got fucked up over here.
She's killing me over here.
Wait, can I tell you something so funny?
Because I was like, if we would have this conversation normally, I'd have like a tequila with me. And I'm like, Sarah, you guys get shot right
relax.
now.
And this is me sober.
Yeah.
So my brother-in-law, Benny, love him so much. Ben, not Benny.
I'm sorry, before we go, do you have to like disclaimer that you are a therapist when you're in like these social things?
I'll tell you right now, this is a misconception with therapists. Like right now in this moment, I'm touching on the fact that I'm a therapist. My therapist hat is so far off. I am Sarah. That's it.
Okay.
So, because I've learned. People here, you get
you get kind of like,
I'm like, not today, I'm being feral, leave me alone. Or it's like, no, don't judge my behavior because I'm not being a therapist.
I'm not here to be judged.
I can't. It's like you cannot hold, like, oh God, meeting new people, like can you tell me? And I'm like,
no, man, I get paid very well to do what I do. Like,
it's not even that. And honestly, gotta be honest, I've just started advocating for money and the way that I deserve to be paid. Like I've done sliding scales because it's so important to me. Like people get access, and I still absolutely offer that, but it's so important to me that people get access that do not have access to, insurance and therapy. Yeah. But it's money is interesting, and I have I've gotten better, a very weird relationship with money, and I think that ties into worth. Like, well, you're only a year in, so like you don't deserve to be charging X or you don't deserve to be charging that, like. And then finally I had to look, I'm like, Sarah, like you're based out of North Carolina living in New Jersey. Yeah. You have to make an income. You have to match at least like the people that you go for what, like,
or you'll be going back to North Carolina.
Literally.
You will be going back to North Carolina.
And people don't talk about how uncomfortable that is. Or like how starting a business. Oh my God.
100%.
My supervisor.
It's a reality, man.
I'll send this to him. He'll die because I am was clueless. They don't teach you in grad school what it's like, all the things you need to do.
No one will ever teach you
the
finances.
Licenses. Yeah. But it's not even the finance, it's like the licensure, all the things you need to hold. And it's just like, that's so important. And you're flying blind. And I'm flying blind and I'm in a space where I'm unwell. So it's like, all right, well, taxes are going to tax and I'm going to figure it out. I had to put what aside for taxes? Yeah. Okay, well, payment plan me up. And then you figure it out. And like you not anymore, but I'm just saying, like, 4.5 years ago, I don't know what I was doing.
Fucking taxes.
Tax me up, baby.
What do you mean? You didn't take that shit already?
No.
They paid you.
No. Listen, orange is not my color. So like
I got to pay those things.
Yeah, I figured it out. But
that
it's like,
so
these are
funny,
things
man.
You don't like.
No, yeah, there's no way. How would you know?
Yeah, like well, I mean, maybe you might have learned a little bit better.
No, but like, to that point where like, even if you come from like an entrepreneur or family or something like that, sometimes you don't look at that, like those things apply to this career path. Yeah. But nowadays, it kind of all does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're like, somebody's like, I got a tax guy. And you're just like, are you just getting away with it? Or,
right.
You're like, you're mad hesitant to be like, what can I write off? And then you hear crazy stories. People are like, yeah, I got everything on the LLC. And you're like,
what? Yeah. Show me.
Yeah. You're like, what? Excuse me?
Please show me.
And I'm like, so.
Because I need it.
Yeah. And
I'm afraid. Me too. I don't want to go to prison.
No, I'm so afraid of that.
But then you talk to certain people, they're like,
they're like, my clients Venmo me. I'm like, they do what?
They're like, yeah, like you don't have 4 LLCs. Your house is not an LLC. Like, and you're like, what are you doing? And you're like, what am I doing?
Like, dude, I go to bed and I'm trying to go to work tomorrow. Like, that's it. What do you mean? Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Yo, chill, bro. I don't know.
Bro, none of us. But do we ever? We're all figuring it out.
Please.
Figuring it out, baby. Figuring it out.
That's so interesting. Yeah. You drop a lot of bars right there. That's kind of crazy.
See, I know. I told you I was a really good rapper back in the day.
You were not. You weren't kidding. Great with words, man. Great with words.
Well, when I'm really anxious, what I do is I go to the dictionary on Google and I learn new words.
Okay. All right.
Because I love words.
So Sarah, back to the
okay.
your special, what is it?
My specialty. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the more I grow, I really was like hell bent on psychodynamic, right? Which is again like the patterns, behaviors, projections. But then it's like as things have gone on, like narrative therapy, like what? Because this was so paramount for me. What have you learned about yourself throughout your life? Through your parents, your siblings, your relationships, the stranger on the street. Like, what is your inner dialogue, right? What are you telling yourself? Because when you really tune in to your
narrative
thoughts,
I've never fucking heard of that. And I talk to myself a lot.
Yeah.
Narrative.
And what are some of the things you're saying? Because mine...
Is it positive?
Mine are really negative.
It's never negative. It's I'm that nigga.
Well, that's
like,
y'all,
okay,
that's great.
Phenomenal.
It's literally like, y'all can't fuck with me. And then I'm like, all right, well, I don't have that much money. Or I'm not that good looking. But then I'm like, nah, fuck that. Like,
but let's go back to those two things.
Yeah.
I would love to, and I had this conversation with my mom.
She's trying to unpack me.
Success.
Yeah.
I would look at myself as a 32-year-old. Let's break it down. Divorced before a year. Okay. Was living at my mom's house. Okay. Because financially, shit.
Yeah.
Then it's like, we'll get into the fun stuff after, but it's like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, how do I measure success?
Okay.
It's not a monetary gain.
Yeah.
I'm showing up every day and I'm saving lives. I'm helping people. Or guess what? I'm helping the woman who needs me to bring her grocery back.
Yeah.
It's like physical looks. You know, I was probably the heaviest I was. I'm like 40 pounds down from the end of my marriage. That was simply from inflammation and just being unhappy. And that's not in spite of the person. That was my own stuff.
Yeah.
My own stuff. So it's
just
like,
you.
What are we measuring? Like, I think there's
You're down 40 pounds?
Yeah.
I know a woman that's a lot. That's
and
a lot.
I didn't even like in people like what? It's like I have the height, but it's like like in that again, I was more active. I mean, I'm pretty healthy now, but it's like I was more active then. It felt like, and it was just stress. I was in the hospital for IBS. It was all these things like I was retaining, and maybe you wouldn't be able to tell, but I can tell.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah. I mean, you could always tell.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, a 40-pound difference. But despite the point, all I'm saying is like, how do you measure success?
Right.
People think like no. Like actually, I'm asking you like, right
me?
now, like in this moment, like what would you say success is for you?
Honestly, outside of like, maybe I like to be a little better financially. I don't see an area where I'm not successful just because of how I grew up. Like, in my family, I am the measure of success right now. Like, I'm married. I bought a house. My son is healthy. Everybody else is good. I'm not worried. So technically, like, in the scope of where I come from and what my family looks like, they all look at me as if I'm successful. And you just got to believe it at that point, right? So when you do get thoughts, and it rarely happens to me where I get thoughts like where I'm down and I don't think I'm doing enough, I just get up and do something. Like, Carolyn doesn't want she'll tell you. Like, she doesn't want for anything emotionally at all, because it's like, even if I can't, and that was me because I started dating her when I was broke. So it was never a thing. Money was never a thing. It was like, what can you do for me outside of buying something for me? Be there. Listen.
100%.
Help. Like, and that stuff is kind of like what makes you feel like you're successful. I never go to sleep a day and think that I'm not like.
Did you always have that mindset, just like more positive than negative?
It changed when my life changed.
When was that?
When I realized that, like, if I just stop being a lazy bastard and stop blaming everything on everybody and just like just make some effort. Like, there was years, and it was all those party years, like where you think you're making an effort trying to change your life, but you're really not. Like, you're actually just waiting for the weekend, and you're just like dragging those days. And then when you actually get up and try, and it was her, she asked me one time, I think I was working at the Boys and Girls Club, and she was like, is this like what you want to do? Like, and I was like, no. And she's like, whoa. And I'm like, all right, well, fuck that. Like, you're not about to look at me like I don't do nothing. And she didn't, but just the question, she just had to say the words, and then the words stuck. And then that from there, it was go time from
Yeah.
there. And then from there, I didn't feel like I was less of anything at that point.
No, it's
But when I was broke, I didn't feel like I was less of anything either.
but that's so important.
I think that's like an attitude thing for me.
No, and that's a blessing that you have.
And I'm glad that like I had it. I wish more people had it. They would stop measuring everything that they have with other people.
Yeah.
That's something I don't do. I don't look at something like he has.
Yep.
Like my brother-in-law's rich. Like I don't look at him and think like he's a better man than me.
Right.
And he's not a better man than me. He's his own man.
Yes.
You're your man. That's your life. And I'm my own man, and that's my life.
Yeah.
I've always thought that way.
Yeah.
Therapy for me was more just sorting out resentment and trauma and feelings for me. It was never like a self-boosting thing. I never had that problem. Even when I was a short, fat kid, like I was always confident. That wasn't really like
great,
an issue.
though. That really is.
But for me, it was resentment, past trauma, that stuff like that. And you were right about the man. I should have had a woman too, because I was just like, yo, just tell me I'm right, bro. Like, like he's like, well, da 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 da. I don't want to hear none of that shit.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm right.
The window of tolerance is wild, like what you can withstand when you're in session. And I know when I'm getting pissed, I'm like, bitch is on to something. Fuck you again, Kathy. I love you, Kathy, and I can say that right to her face. And tell her all the sessions.
That's good.
I'm like, I love you. I mean, that's.
I'd feel bad though, like if I had a woman therapist though, and then I did have those moments and like snap on her, and it's not like she's weak or anything like that. I just think it'd be like disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, I would encourage you not to curse your therapist.
That's what I'm saying. But like sometimes I gotta get that off. I don't like what you're saying to me.
Well, and here's the thing too. I think we're trained enough to know, and like again, maybe like a little bit like ego, or like if we always like. Yeah. Well, I'll take always.
I mean, it's always ego.
It's like ego driven, right? It's like you want to be, because sometimes it's not a good fit too. Like in general, like
I've heard that
not
too.
A good fit.
Yeah. I got lucky. I didn't have to go through a sea of therapists. This guy didn't. He challenged me. He learned me quick.
Yeah.
So he challenged me in a way where he wasn't trying to like forcefully challenge me. He'd always like sneak in the back door and challenge me, and I was like, "You motherfucker! Yeah. That's a good point."
Yeah. Well, like Sarah does. She's like,
expound on that.
Okay. Her question. I think your question, like measuring success is a phenomenal question, and I would like to propose to you that question, but not as like not in a career wise, but in a relationship wise. When you're looking for a new partner.
Oh yeah.
Because that's what people always say. Like, I want someone to either be successful or someone to become successful. So what is attractive for a woman, for a man to quote unquote be successful?
Okay,
and that's why like I feel like a lot of women nowadays are single for a longer period of time because they're looking for either already established successful man or they want a man that has the potential to be successful. So what's that to you? What does that look like to you?
Yeah, Sarah, unpack that.
I might get a little woo-woo and people are not going to agree with me. I think if you're measuring a man off of the potential of their success or their success right now, then maybe you should look at yourself. I don't mean that that is not judgmental.
No, not at all.
Space at all.
Yeah.
I want you to challenge the system. I want you to challenge your idea of what a man is to you, the bias that you have around it, maybe the what are you looking for in a partnership, right? And I'm kind of laughing through this
because now it's like reflective on right.
Do you guys want to hear something wild when I think about this question?
Of course we always.
I've never been on a date.
Interesting.
All right, so when you said that to me earlier, I thought like you meant like in your current situation you had never been on a date. No. You mean like
in my life.
Just like in general, period.
My long relationships where people, and it's interesting because I'll never forget, I was like 14, 15, and I was like, I'm either going to marry this person or this person. Well, one I had a very long relationship with. Things unfolded the way they did, and then I married the other one, right? So it's like
You're supposed to say, I'm supposed to marry like Justin Timberlake or this guy. It's not supposed to be like two actual people that like you can actually marry. It's supposed to be like one that's like way up here, right?
That guy's super successful.
Hey, y'all marrying Leo or I'm gonna marry this guy?
You just heard the other Pete Davidson, Bruce Springsteen. He's a little too old.
You should have just been like, yo, I'm marrying Bruce for this guy.
I'm gonna find Bruce at a concert. He gonna love me.
Bruce got sons. One's a firefighter. Hey.
See, there you go. Bruce's son instead. That's kind of crazy.
Which part? The firefighter?
No, that part is normal.
No.
It's.
I was telling my mom today. I was like, I'm going on this podcast.
The two dudes.
And I was laughing. Wow. I was like, I've never dated. She's like, yeah. She's like, you, whatever, like, hooked up. She's like, and then they moved in.
Oh, jeez.
My mother is a saint. She at this point was like by herself at the time.
Very calm lady.
She's logical and rational.
So have you opened up that dating ability now?
I don't think I'm interested. And what I mean by that is I had my fair share of fun. And then fun doesn't always feel good, right? It's like you think like, well, I didn't have these experiences. I didn't have many partners. Like, so you go and do that. And I'm at the time 31-year-old woman, like doing things, you know, how I want to do them. There's no judgment around that. But it's also like,
grand misconception on what actually makes you happy and what you think is fun after that.
Like a night out is very different from like a satisfying.
No, I have no shame.
As long as you don't have shame, then it's all you.
I think what it comes down to is I realized a couple of really amazing things through my healing process, through my divorce. Like, I was really isolated. I felt really alone. I was really confused. Like, there was no concrete, like, reason.
In the marriage?
Actually, probably 6 months prior to it being done, I felt constantly alone.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. And again, I'm not saying anything in spite of this person. Like, this is
no, it's just how you were feeling.
In tandem, and at the time, my dad
was it reciprocal? They felt that way too, or was it like?
I'm sure they had their own experience. I mean, I felt like I was more on the receiving end of like shock when things kind of unfolded, and then you look back and you're like, oh, this was necessary. Like, my therapist was like, Sarah, I don't think it would have been much longer until you like.
You came to that realization, like you woke up and you was like, you know what, I can't do this either.
I think I'm like, I got married. I was probably more willing to do the work. Yeah. And I think you meet people where they're at. And I think this person doesn't want to, whatever, it's their journey. So whatever that looks like, I have no judgment. Like, listen, I could get into, I think what's most helpful is like zooming out than zooming in. Like, I could sit here like the victim, like this happened. Like, I think what's most important is everything, my perspective has now happened for me. And I am the best version of myself that I've ever been. I've never realized for 31 years that I was completely in this mental war. I'm so good at showing up. I'm so good at talking to people.
Yeah.
The word hate, and that's a strong word, hated myself for so many years.
Wow.
Because somewhere along the line I was taught I'm disposable. Ooh. I'm unworthy. And so these experiences to me happen, and that's like, see, that's my proof, that's my validation. Sarah, you suck so bad. So I sat there. I filed in November. November 23. We were divorced by December. It was very quick.
Wow.
And in July, I kind of had this experience of freedom of like, I choose me.
Yeah.
Like,
No kids?
No kids. Oh. No kids.
So it made that separation a lot easier.
So much easier. No kids, no assets. Like, we had a dog. I adopted her, and I would have absolutely been willing to, but that's too complicated. But I'm too much of an empath. I guess what I'm trying to say is I've learned so much about myself and choosing myself, and I've shown up for myself in ways where, you know, I'm coming off of a diagnosis of my dad having pancreatic cancer. My dog that's been there for me, and if you're not a dog person, you're not going to get it, but like, he was like my son.
No, I get it.
Diagnosed with cancer out of nowhere. So it's like, this happens, like, I don't know what the hell's going on with my marriage. My dad's diagnosed with like the worst in my family, like, because it's on my mom's side. They die in weeks, like, from pancreatic cancer. So I'm like, it's fear-based. What I'm trying to say is I was in such a state of like reactivity.
Yeah.
And I know when I'm being like short, reactive, irritable, bitchy, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I was so scared. And then
that's awesome that you can identify that though.
It took some time to identify that, right? Because it doesn't feel good. Like, I have to also get really, really accountable. Like, there's certain behaviors and things like where people want to be like, well, F this person. It's like, I always believe that two people create a relationship, right? Yeah. I had to get so uncomfortable with some of my patterns and behaviors
with your own
that I would do to receive love.
Wow.
Negative or positive. Oh. Negative or positive.
That's adult.
Yeah. That's
adult, right?
That's a hard mirror to look at.
That's adult, man.
Let me tell you, these were the F you Kathy moments.
Yeah.
Because when you're like, well, he did X, Y, and Z, and no, Sarah, you don't get to do that.
You clapping it up for Kathy?
Damn.
Clapping it up for
Shout out to
Kathy.
Kathy, yo.
And we scored again.
Yeah. Shout out to Yo, listen, man.
And the
Shout out to Kathy. She's doing the work.
It is. I listen. If anyone
She
wants
paid
Kathy,
in
let
the
me know.
landfill right now.
But she's also made me embrace. Okay, we're gonna get woo woo, and then I'm gonna go back to that question because it's not fault. I'm a tracker.
No, I got
My
you.
ADHD's going.
Hey,
but
don't you
I know
worry.
where
This
we
is-
landed.
This is long form content.
Yeah,
here.
like
We're
this-
good.
Yeah.
going.
It's not a quick fix. If you sit down and listen to and watch any of our stuff, it's not a quick fix, and it's meant to be digest.
Okay.
And it's meant for you to get
Yeah.
as much out of it as you can, because like you only find yourself in that comfortable space where you're just kind of just going through your moments. Maybe you more, since you're more in tune with, how you feel, but
Yeah, but I do a lot. I'm a lot more avoidant than I've ever realized until this. Like, and we'll get into that too. God, this is like a 5-hour podcast. You're gonna cut half.
Nah, it's all right. If you're still watching this at this moment,
word.
comment down below W for Kathy.
Fact.
This isn't live, is
Fact.
it?
No.
No.
But you can on the
Oh my God.
on the
They're gonna be
YouTube
like,
leave
get
comments.
her
So much.
off. Take her home.
Take
Take
it
her
down.
home.
Nah, man.
I think
great.
what I came to, and this was only a couple weeks ago, and when you're in that weird in between of like sleep, like you're kind of awake, kind of not.
Yeah.
I hate that.
I know. One of my mantras though is I know nothing, and what I mean by that is
Is that the spiritual side or is that the therapist side?
like it's silly.
We got to
of
tap
me-
into that a little bit later.
Silly of me to think that I know what's gonna happen for me. That's crazy.
Mm.
That's wild. So I'm sitting there going, I know nothing.
Because you try to plan everything, you think you got it all, but you know nothing.
we all like you think and then nothing happened. But when you let go, I am the
Yeah,
caterpillar.
all the shit starts happening. for
in the
sure.
goo. Did you know that caterpillars, when they're in their little cocoons, actually become goo? I never knew that until
Huh?
this
I did
year.
not know that.
They actually become.
I don't know the anatomy of bugs. Like,
No, but they actually become goo. So my whole mind, like I'm goo. I know nothing, but this transformation happens without rhyme, reason. Don't know why, but it takes place, right? And one of the things that I noticed is that whole somewhere along the line, I realized, I unworthy, had this like deep abandonment, betrayal wound, like all men are not safe. Like that's really deeply how I felt. You know what my biggest trauma was through any relationship I ever had? Myself. And that idea.
God damn.
And carrying that wound in every relationship. Because in the self-sabotage, I would like lose my shit, okay? Like I'm gonna say something really vulnerable and like it's really uncomfortable. Like I was never my best when I was in a partner with a male. Never.
Fucking A.
Never.
Sarah, come
Wow.
on, bro.
Never. Because you mirrored everything I feared.
Oh, okay.
Gotta stop drinking, girl. I'm reaching for this cup.
Wow.
That's
Like
deep,
I
you
never
could
even,
do
like-
everything right. You're doing it wrong.
What?
And I hate to fucking admit that, but I mean it. Like you could do everything right,
So a man could do everything right.
and it was
you.
rare that was happening. But I'm just saying. Like,
No,
you
yeah,
could
yeah,
be
yeah.
But
doing
it could go that far.
Intentions are, because
Yes.
full circle, your initial question to us was measure of success, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mine was very simple answer is how do I make this function better?
Yes.
And
Right.
am I doing that to my best ability?
And that's a beautiful answer.
That's
Yeah.
my answer.
Yeah.
In whatever form you want to
Yeah.
put that in, whether
Yeah.
it's financially, the
Mhm.
household.
Yeah.
If I can do my best, I feel that I'm successful.
Yeah.
So full circle to that was just what you were saying. If I'm putting my all in and I'm giving you everything I can,
Yeah.
but it's not working,
It's still not working.
is it
Then you got to go.
right?
You got to choose you. And there's nothing more uncomfortable than Sarah Comerford choosing Sarah Comerford because Sarah Comerford sucked. And then once I chose myself, God.
Yo, that's fucking crazy.
Crazy.
Like,
Wait,
wow.
do you want to hear something even crazier?
I don't know how you can.
Wait, listen to this.
don't
My
know
dad
how you
loved
can
this.
get-
I told my dad I was going to be on the podcast. I was like, is it okay if I, whatever. And I'm like, Dad, so blah blah blah. I was like, so I was listening like to Coel's podcast and like, I think Wes was your friend.
Yes.
You had Wes on. I was like,
yeah.
They mentioned like I'm going like driving down the parkway. I'm like they mentioned like therapists and like one got an RV and I was like, oh my God, I need to get her information. That's so cool. Like I want to link up with more girls that are solo travelers. And then Coel goes, the last time I saw her was at her wedding. I was like, wait, that's me.
I love that. Thank you for listening. That's awesome. So it can be like, yo, what are you talking about me on that episode?
Wait a minute.
That's dope.
And that's what I mean. I don't stop and applaud myself enough.
I want to get that girl's
We thought it was great, but it's like that's what I mean. We need to slow down and enjoy the now.
100%. Yeah,
like,
100%.
We need to enjoy.
That is like.
Down.
So let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
That's so vulnerable.
When you stopped and realized, like happiness should, like I should know how to be happy.
It's my responsibility to
be happy, right?
You should add, not you should. I'm sorry, I never want to should anyone. The partner that I'm hoping to be with will.
We got to get into that. Don't should.
Yeah, no should. We don't should on ourselves.
We don't should people.
Yeah,
that's
like you don't.
crazy.
That's a deep therapy.
That's
like,
deep right there.
You don't shit on yourself, so you don't shit on yourself.
Damn.
You know, don't shit on yourself. It's all here.
Yeah.
It's my perspective changed when I was like, this happened for me instead of this happened to me.